I am here with this special episode to let you know all about the Scottish Wool Producers Showcase that I was at last Saturday. Now this is an event run by Eva Christie and the team who bring you the Scottish Yarn Festival, an event I was at last September. This event is a much more intimate event. It's lovely. It was all about big focus on Scottish wool producers and their more natural sort of yarns. So there was a lot of sheep, Shetland, Angora, merino, alpaca, cashmere, all these really lovely sheepy yarns. It smelled dreamy as well. So I went there on Saturday. I took the train through. It was a lovely train journey through, and we could see snow in the mountains actually. It went quite a bit colder at the weekend, so we could see snow in the mountains beyond Perth. And I went with my mum and her friend Pauline and Fiona. Shout out to them if you're all watching. And got there just after 11 and had a quick look round. That's my usual strategy now if I'm at a yarn festival, is one quick buzz round the room, see what there is, and then take it in slowly the second time, which was brilliant. I was catching up with my mum. Oh, sorry, strap fell down. Catching up with my mum here and there as well because she was picking yarn for a project she is knitting for me. So every now and again we bump into each other and be, oh, come look at this. So that was fun. And I was looking for yarn. So the second time round I was much more methodical and really thinking about what I might do with the yarn. And I've chosen 4 little cakes of yarn. Let's make sure they're showing up in the light best. There, got them. So I chose these 4 colours. I was at their stall for ages. This is Kouros yarn. Kouros is a town near the Forth Bridges, kind of between where I am, further up the east coast of Scotland and Edinburgh. Kouros, you don't sound that L, it's a silent L. And I chose these 4. I'll show you their little leaflet because it'll give you an idea of what the colours are like. Their colours are all from plants. So on the back of that and there, just a few wee samples, drawings of the kind of plant-based material that they dye from. So I was ages. I picked 2 first, and then I would pick a third, and then maybe put one down, pick a 4th one. Now I'll switch it for this 4th one, and I was at the stall for quite a while. There, you can see them nicely. And I have chosen these 4. I'll tell you what they all are. So this one is dyed with logwood. And it's a lovely, almost lavender, kind of a dark lavender purple, I would say. We have this one, which is chamomile and indigo. I really like that one. Of course, there's a yellow. I love yellow. This one is just chamomile. Isn't it beautiful? And the final one is kind of a raspberry colour, and it is boglewood. I hope I'm saying that properly. Boglewood and copper. So the copper will have changed the effect of it. Oh, I said they were 50 grams. They are 25 grams. Little 25-gram cakes. So I bought those 4. And in the afternoon, I had one of the designer pop-up stalls. There were 6 designers. We had a small room from 1 till 4 in the afternoon, and we could just set up our various design projects, things we're working on. Some people had little swatches. I brought a few samples with me, and I also just had this sheet of paper, and I wrote what should I design with these 4 colours. So this, I popped my colours up here, and I just asked people that were coming along to the stall what they thought I should design. And I just wanted something kind of interactive for my stall because it was a big trestle table, and although I'm getting more and more into using Scottish yarns and using more unusual fibres, there weren't that many samples that I had, because there are some things I've made but they're with publishers, things like that. So I didn't actually have many samples to show. So I thought, how am I going to fill this table? And then I thought, let's interact with the public a little bit, find out what kind of things they're interested in. So I got some great answers, a lot of colour work answers, quite a few people completely missed the fact that I was a crochet designer, and a lot of people have put Fair Isle. No, there's nothing on this leaflet, but this company sell a lot of Fair Isle kits and pre-made Fair Isle items as well. So I guess if they had been across at the stall, they'll have seen lots of Fair Isle. So there were lots of Fair Isle answers, and although yes, you can do that in knitting, in crochet, I didn't think that was kind of the route I was going to go. Stripy jumper, possibly not out of 100 grams. Although I didn't specify that it would just be those 4. Although if I was actually talking to people, I did say it would just be these 4. So a small item. And wrist warmers had a lot of votes. Mittens and cowl. Tank top would be gorgeous, but again, not quite enough yarn. And lots of people thought that there should be some sort of floral element to it because of the plant-based nature of the dies. So there's lots of plant theme design, floral, flowers, yeah. So I like that. And that was really fun talking to people and finding out the kind of things that they like to make. So that was my first purchase. I will just show you them again. It feels lovely. The yarn, I didn't say, the yarn is from their homegrown sheep. I believe that they began by just taking in 1 or 2 sheep to mow their lawn, essentially, and they just fell in love with them. The flock grew, and before they knew it, they were creating yarn. Cut a long story short. The folks on the stall were lovely, really nice to talk to, really enthusiastic, and I look forward to bringing you a design in this. Do you know what? I have actually got an idea, and I am going to go with the mitts / fingerless mitts. I'm not quite sure if they will be open-ended or not. We'll see how much yarn it's going to use. And I nearly started yesterday afternoon. I was feeling very creative. I've kind of got a little bit of an idea in my head, and I realised I've not filmed this podcast yet. I'm not going to start filming until I film the podcast. So I shall pop these to one side and show you my other item. Now, the other thing I acquired is all this. Isn't it wonderful? This is yarn that I have been following online for a long time now. A long time. Lunan Bay Farm is about 30-minute drive from where I am. It's up the coast, so it's in the opposite direction from the Fife yarn. It's up the coast towards Aberdeen. Now they have cashmere goats. I do love their branding as well. And at the moment, if you go on their Instagram page, it is just flooded with their cute little kids running around everywhere, kind of reels and things. You definitely want to go and follow them. However, that aside, these kids go on to produce beautiful, beautiful yarn. So they are cashmere goats, and the yarn is all combed rather than sheared off them. So first of all, it's a time-consuming process, but it also creates really lovely fibre because it won't have that snipped end. It will be just naturally combed out of the sheep, and it is mixed with other local yarn. They have some Shetland sheep on the farm, so it's 10% cashmere from the goats. It's 40% Shetland, which is their own flock of Shetland sheep, and 50% alpaca, which comes from alpacas which are stone's throw away. So it's all very locally sourced. It then goes to the border mill to be this is where I need to brush up on all my terms. It's not spun, it's mixed. That's the wrong word, but it's made into, I don't know, bats, would that be what you call it? I'm going to learn loads more about this. I'm hoping to bring you a big exciting project about how it comes from the goats and then ends up in my finished project. I'm working on putting together a big project from the start to the finish and taking you along on that journey. So I will not be so vague and I will know what I'm talking about. Because I think a lot of us, we get the yarn and we're like, oh yeah, cute. And we don't really give it a second's thought, if any thought, about where it's come from, what the process is, who's been involved with it, and is everyone getting paid fairly as well. I know a lot of our yarn comes from overseas, and as we know, there are often poor working conditions. The animals aren't kept well either. So that's something that's all very important to me, and I'm really looking forward to finding out more about it. So this one, beautiful. It's 50 grams and it is a DK weight, and that gives about 93 meters. So maybe, no, it's more like an iron weight, isn't it? 93 meters. No, I'm talking nonsense. I was thinking it was 100. It is a DK weight and it's 93 meters. And it is beautifully soft. I'm going to open this one up if I can. Let you have a wee look. Oh, that was exciting. And this is how it's looking. Oh yes, I was talking about the mill. So it goes from the mill and then it goes back to a local spinner who actually spins it. So that is why I was struggling for the word of what they do at the mill. Prepare it, blend it, and then it goes to a local spinner. So there we go. Now this is their most pure form of the yarn. They have another one which is just 5% cashmere, and I'm not sure what the final one is. So they have various levels of cashmereness, if you like. And it was lovely to speak to Gillian in person at the festival and see the other ones, and yeah, just find out a little bit more about what goes on. At Easter time they have goats and coats tours, which just sound so cute, and they also have a special day that you can go on and see all about the goat combing and find out what happens to the fibre after that. So I'm keen to go on that and learn more. That's later on this year. So again, I put the yarn on the table with my bit paper. And what should I design with this one? And I had lots of ideas. And the most popular one, this one in the middle with all the ticks, is some sort of tank top, or I guess a sleeveless jumper, depending on where you are, a vest. That got a lot of votes. Also, not so many people wrote it down. There were a lot of people that were just scared to pick up my pens and write, which was just a bit silly. You know, people don't bite. I don't know. Some people were just very strange about the whole thing. And then once I started getting a few things jotted down, folks were more willing to write down their ideas. Cowl got a lot of votes as well, and kind of more of a sort of including a hooded element and then going into a big cowl. That would work really, really well with this as well. But in the end, tank top, I think, got the most votes, and speaking to people as well. I think this would just be lovely as a tank top. So I will start thinking about that one as well. I think the mitts will be quick, and I'm going to start on that first while I mull over this one, and I'm going to learn more about what goes on at the farm, what goes on with the fibre as well before I dig into that process, because that might input my design too. The final thing I had was free copies of my Perth Beanie pattern to give away. So I had a big stack of these at each end of the stall, and I was, any crocheters? So many people just knit. I was amazed at the number of comments I got towards the end, because I did not want to carry them all home. I was saying, do you know someone who crochets? I got rid of some that way. So that was good, because they weighed a ton. I took with me about 250 because I really had no idea how busy it was going to be, what the uptake on them was going to be. I maybe gave out about 100, so I went away with having got rid of quite a lot of them. So this is my Perth Beanie. If you were not at the festival and you are new to following me, this pattern is free on my blog, which is one of the reasons I chose it. It's free on my blog anyway. I just produced a nice printed brochure of it, and there's a QR code at the back here that'll get you onto my mailing list, so you don't miss anything out if you picked up one of these. Do check that out. And what was I going to say? The other reason I chose it is, of course, the Perth Beanie uses the Clan DK yarn from the Scottish Yarn Festival, and they had a stall just round the corner, out the door, around the corner. You could buy your 100-gram skein to make the pattern. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it was a lovely way to support the festival as well, which I liked all round. So that was Saturday. It was really, really good to meet some stall holders that I hadn't met before. I'm not going to start listing because then I'll feel that I've left people out. Stall holders that I've really only been following on Instagram, and then there were members of the public who came up and spoke to me, and some of them have followed the podcast or get my emails or have made other things, and that was brilliant too. So all in all, it was a fab day. The one last thing I have to show, I bought 2 other things. First of all, these little avocado stitch stoppers. It's a bit of a tongue twister. I'll get them out of the packet so we can see them. They are dead cute, and they just go on the ends of knitting needles and stop all the stitches from falling off. So I was happy with them. Little avocados. They were from just kind of an extra on a stall from foxandpinestitches.com. One of the stalls just had these as well as the yarn that they had, so I'm not quite sure. I need to look them up and make sure I'm following them. And the other thing I bought is a project bag. That was one thing that I really wanted to pick up that day. I was hoping to see Woolly Originals, but they had to pull out due to illness. But there was another stall, and I don't have the bag because I bought it for myself, took it home, and I gave it to my husband and said, you'll be looking for ideas for my birthday in a couple of weeks, especially as Mother's Day had just passed, and we're straight into needing another idea for something to get for me. So I quickly gave it to him without really becoming attached to it. In fact, offhand, I cannot even remember the name of the stall I got it from, so I'm just going to share that with you when my birthday comes, which will be good. So my husband has beavered it away, and I will see that again in a couple of weeks, which will be all exciting. I can be all, oh wow. Oh, he's better at that he gets me something that I will love and use, and it takes some of the stress out of him having to find me something. So I'm happy with that. Win-win, I think. So I think that's all I want to say about the festival. If you're keen to go next year, do look out for details. Make sure you're following the Scottish Yarn Festival online, and look out for their September tickets as well for the event in Errol in September. Last year the one in Perth was amazing, so I cannot wait to be back in September. And I will catch you all again real soon. Goodbye.